We are live. We are talking touchdowns. Once again, the objective is to nuke the house. And the man here to help me do that is JC Zargo at Daddy Zargs on social media. JC, how are you feeling today after watching the Seattle Seahawks do their thing last night?
A little bittersweet. I did not cash many bets last night, but it was a very entertaining game to watch. So I can't be too mad, you know. For me, I mean, the biggest takeaway in that is we need to figure out a way to give these guys at least 7 days of rest before Thursday night games, and we might just have a better product.
Oh, thank you. I don't know if you watched FanSpeak yesterday, but that was the number one thing I was rooting for, was that on the full rest that the game would look better. My only regret is when I saw those sweet throwback uniforms. I should have known. But overall, a pretty fun game there in Dallas, and kind of went to what I was saying, where I didn't really believe in Dallas as a contender. And once again, they showed why. But we'll be able to talk about
what
you don't think you really think they can win the Super Bowl?
I mean, I don't think they can. I don't think they're better than the Eagles or San Francisco. We normally don't have to break down the Thursday night game this in depth, but now we got to talk about it. So, I mean, obviously, I think the Seattle team that played last night, I don't know if it was just because of the fully healthy Geno Smith, far better than what we saw the previous 2 weeks. So I don't know if that's kind of skewing why you're saying that. Like, I felt like this Seattle team was better. And if you don't, then sure, we can say Dallas is a pretender. But
I mean, they always come up short in these big spots.
But they won.
I know, but still, I don't know.
Hey, did you know that this is Dallas's first win this season against a team with a winning record?
Yeah, I know. I didn't even expect that to happen.
Fascinating. Okay. I thought Dak looked great. I mean, yeah, the defense left a little something to be desired, but again, I felt like Seattle just looked solid, and that's not a knock on the Dallas D.
All right. Well, we'll disagree there. I don't think Dallas is a contender, and I was not impressed with that performance last night. I mean, we talked about Seattle really. They just might be like a bye for the first round, right? I mean, when you look at all that, well, the NFC South winner is going to be pretty bad too. So
the other problem is Seattle's schedule for the next 3 weeks. So I don't know how that's going to affect their playoff standing, but they got to go 49ers, Eagles, but then, they finish up Titans, Steelers, Cardinals. So, I mean, that's potentially 2 more losses. So you're potentially looking at like, I don't know, 8-7, 9-8.
I think they'll make it just because no one else is there.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I was hoping Seattle would get the straight up win last night. That didn't happen. Let's dive into this slate.
Okay.
JC, do you like a lot this week?
It's yeah. I mean, it's decent. It's nothing like last week. Last week was just awesome. It was too easy. But what I do like about the board this week is we got a lot more closer spreads. It seems like for a few weeks there, everything was like either a pick 'em or a 10-point spread. I think there's some solid opportunities, but nothing like we saw last week.
All right. Let's dive right in. Los Angeles Chargers are -5.5. They're in New England taking on the Patriots. The total is 40. Your thoughts on this game, JC?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we've seen a lot of sloppy play from the Chargers these past 3 weeks, but they played some good teams, and they looked, it was bad play, but they were still able to keep it close against these like playoff caliber teams. Going to New England, I know we always worry about LA on the East Coast, but New England's just so bad. I think Zappe is starting, shouldn't really matter. Man, you worry about New England at home, but I feel like it's just kind of sticker shock. It's just having a hard time believing New England's as bad as they are. I mean, I don't know the last time we saw New England with stats as bad as they are this season, but I feel like you got to go with the Chargers here, knowing what they're capable of, knowing if, teams between the two of them, they're more likely to kind of put together a strong game than the Patriots. Could be an under here, although I do worry about the Chargers running up the score on the Patriots. But I think, -5.5, it's a pretty easy bet.
All right. JC likes the Chargers here. I'm scared of the Chargers laying 5.5 on the
That's
road. I don't really know what to make of this Chargers team. We always talk about how talented they are, and then they never come through. Patriots home field advantage as the season gets longer, gets better, right? Because of the extreme weather change going from Los Angeles to New England. So I had problems getting there with the Chargers here. One thing I noticed about my projections, they definitely overvalue the bad teams. So let me pull those up again.
I will say,
did you have any props on that game?
Definitely an interception type game. I'm seeing though that it's going to be 48 and rainy, so definitely like the under even more now. I'll definitely be on that. It does make me now a little more nervous about covering 5.5 because it could just be like a gross 13-10 type game. So I'm going to hammer the under, and maybe I bet we can get some pretty solid odds on Zappy 2+ interceptions. Could be a good look. Because I'm sure that one. Huh?
You think you get up 2, huh?
Yeah, well, I'm sure the odds on 1 aren't going to be great. I'm not seeing it posted yet. It could be like, I could see it being like -150. So if you take a shot at 2, sometimes you can only get that like, I don't know, around +250, something in there. So I think that could be a nice little stab, maybe throw a little money on that because they're just bad. The Chargers, everything about them. There's really no redeeming qualities to this New England squad.
All right. Clyde, what looks like a kitchen in here? What would I cook?
I was kind of wondering that too. Okay. Nothing, no props up for at least only passing. I think they're still probably waiting for something a little more official. Justin Herbert, +124 on the interception. I don't know.
I had this game 23.4 to 19.5. That tells me to take the Patriots. I'm not going to do it. I'm happy moving on. Let's talk about the Detroit Lions.
Just real quick, I'll endorse that. Justin Herbert, he's thrown an interception against everyone except the Jets. He's thrown it. Oh, I take that back. I was looking at the wrong stat. Yeah, I don't know. Let's move on. Sorry.
What would they be, Clyde? All right. The Detroit Lions are -4. They're in New Orleans. They're taking on the Saints. Total's 47. The Saints 2-8-1 against the spread this year. Lions 4-0 as 4-0 on the road against the spread and 3-0 against the spread as road favorites. This is a game that we have 2 plays on. We took the Detroit team total over, expecting them to bounce back after the poor performance against Green Bay with extra rest, and we also laid the 4 with the Lions. So we're team Lions here. If they lay another egg, we're going to be out 2 units, JC. What do you think of the plays that me and Tyler have played?
No, I like it. What did you say the team total was?
I think we bet it at – I'll have to go look and see what we bet it at real quick.
I completely agree.
Windows open again. Dang it.
I saw
we bet it at 24.5. I'm pulling up my bet online account.
Yeah, it's probably good. This is definitely a big under game for me. But I like the Lions. I saw New Orleans is kind of getting some love on the betting market, and I don't really get why. Like, I don't know if people are just so scared after that game against Green Bay, which, like, number 1, it was Thanksgiving. Number 2, it's a division rival. And number 3, New Orleans is bad. They got injuries galore. What we saw from Derek Carr last week against Atlanta, I don't think there's any reason to panic in Detroit. Campbell knows what's up. He kind of had an inspiring speech this weekend to the media about, what he's got going on in the locker room. So might be a spot. You might even bump it up a few points, get an alt spread, get a little more juice on that play. But I do love the Lions in this spot.
Yeah, what do you think of the Saints? I think it might be time to move on from Dennis Allen. Let's see if they do that. But Clearly, the coaching isn't there. They made the wrong move at quarterback, and they're tied into Derek Carr for one more year. It'd be a huge cap hit if they were to move off of him after the season. So they got one more season with a guy that looks like he's past his prime. Tough going for the Saints fans, but we'll take advantage of it with the Lions bounce back spot. Yeah, we're on 2 bounce back spots here, JC, Tyler, and I here. So we're two teams coming off a loss. The Detroit Lions, the first ones. We'll get to the next one. JC, here's why I wanted to be tricky. The Atlanta Falcons are -2 in New York, taking on the Jets. Total 33.5. JC, I think this is an interesting money line spot for the Jets. I don't know if I've necessarily bought into the Falcons, and if anyone can take away the rushing attack and the way that the Falcons like to move the ball, it would be this New York Jets defense, who we've argued before, but I still think that they're top 5. And if they had a better offense supporting them, they might be considered as good as the number 1 defense statistically, the Cleveland Browns. I think the New York Jets are a sneaky money line pick here at +117. What's your thoughts?
I don't hate it. This is a gross game. I mean, the total 33.5. Slight concerns just because Atlanta has managed to put up, 23 plus points in their last 4 games. Granted, I do think the Jets have a stronger defense than the opponents they faced of late, but I don't know. I don't like it, but if I had to put money on this game, I'd probably lean towards the Jets. It does seem like a solid bounce back spot for them. I mean, losing 4 in a row is ugly. Who's under center though? Do we know yet?
It's not going to be Rodgers. It'll be.
Well, I didn't know if it was Wilson or Boyle.
I handicapped it with Boyle, but I mean, that pisses me off.
If you like it with Boyle, I think you'll be even fine with Wilson. So that's fine. Do you get there on the underspread?
So my projections have a huge over here, but this is a flaw in my projections. So I didn't bet it. Do you think I should?
I don't know. That's another kind of, if I had to, I'd go under, but I think I'm just going to stay away from this game overall because knowing what Atlanta's offense is capable of, not sure they're going to be able to accomplish this against the Jets, but probably just an overall stay away spot for me.
Okay. Yeah, I think the Jets are sneaky money line play. I didn't get there. We'll see what happens. The controversy around the quarterback, or not controversy, right? But the questions around the quarterback is what's really concerning me here. But boy, I really think that the Jets could slow down that Falcons offense. The more we talk about this, the more I like the under. I mean, the strength of my handicap is I don't believe that the Falcons will be able to move the ball against what I consider to be a good defense. Also, they'll be going against the elements this week because they're going to be out of the dome. It's going to be outdoors. We're going to circle back to this one, JC.
I will say I definitely think a Jets win correlates with an under, right? The reason I'm not.
Okay, right. And this makes sense here. Yeah. Okay. So will the Falcons be able to move the ball on the Jets? That's the key handicap there when you're looking at this game. I don't think they will. Maybe I'm overrating this Jets defense. But right now I like
I don't think you're overrating the Jets defense in this spot, but do we really think the last 4 Atlanta's played, do we think their defenses are that much inferior to the Jets?
Well, it's weird because if it was in Atlanta, I don't know if I'd have that same conviction, right? Without the crowd, without the elements. I mean, Ritter doesn't have the arm that's going to be able to move through the cold weather, right? I mean, he's a dome quarterback to me, in my mind. He's not like Allen or Deshaun Watson, those guys that can like just cut it through the wind.
Yeah.
Like that.
Oh, we got a chance of a snow game.
Where? In this New York game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be 36 with some precipitation. It's going to freeze overnight. So probably not snowing during, but it's going to be wet for sure. That's another under. I'll go ahead and lock that in.
Yeah, let's do that right now.
Especially between those two. Like if you grab this one.
Go ahead.
I was say if you grab this one and the New England under, at least one of those will cash. So at very least you're breaking even.
Yeah, 40 seems high on that New England game, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess they're assuming that the Chargers are going to put up the majority of that, but
right.
I guess their defense is that bad. All right. Well, we both like the under for the Jets, and if you are playing a total in the Patriots game. Why would you go over with that team? Above average defense and absolutely terrible offense. The Arizona Cardinals +6 now. JC, you know I love the Steelers. I probably pick them almost every week. The teams that I pick the most this season are the Steelers and the Eagles. But 6 points is way too much for that offense. I mean, this is Cardinals or pass, and if it continues to go higher, I don't get it. Why are the Cardinals catching 6 here? The Steelers team isn't built to blow teams out. They just went over 400 yards for the first time in like 35 games or whatever. The Cardinals aren't that bad. Kyler Murray's back. I don't see how this line should have been like 3.
I mean, in his 2 games, Kyler Murray's put up 14 and 16 points. That's why this number is where it is.
Yeah, and the Steelers are going to put up like 20. So,
wow, maybe. When was the last time?
You think they're going to do that good? I mean, this offense just didn't get rehabbed overnight.
Yeah, I agree though, and also another under here. I mean, 41.5. Are you kidding me? Any Steel like when was the last time? Oh, the Green Bay game went over that by like 2 points, but it's been a long time since a Steelers game saw over 40 points.
Yeah,
I would agree.
I like the Cardinals. It correlates with the under because the lower score, obviously, the 6 points are going to be more valuable. And we get the better quarterback on the field if we take the Cardinals. We're catching 6. I'm going against my favorite guy, Tomlin, but not to be too reductive. We always bet him as a dog, not a favorite.
Yeah. No, for sure. I mean, I don't think the Cardinals stand a chance to win this game, but
I think they do. Everybody's live in the NFL. Like
sure.
We said that about Seattle yesterday, and they definitely stood a chance, right? And we sat on here yesterday with Tyler and Meg, and we were saying, hey, if you play the game, lay the 9. We ended up not getting involved just because it was a lot of points, and I don't know. But
I mean, I'm just saying, they could only put up 14 on the Rams and 16 on the Texans. You think they're going to be able to do more than that against the Steelers? I don't think so.
It's the NFL, and the NFL never makes sense.
I'm just saying, I don't see the Steelers or the Cardinals scoring double digits.
Just like who's the only team that's beat the Eagles this year?
The Jets.
Right? I mean, these things happen.
Oh, now I'm seeing 6. Cardinals up to 6.
Yeah, I think it's 6. So regardless, if it goes to 6.5, I have to bet it. If it goes to 6.5, I have to bet it.
I agree that Cardinals with the points is a smart bet. But I'm just saying, I think it's just going to be so low scoring that the Cardinals will cover but they'll lose.
Yeah, take the points, take the under. Another game pardon?
I was just curious if you could bet a Steelers win and the Cardinals to cover.
In a parlay.
Plus 350 if you want to do that.
Oh, so it's basically just Steelers win between 1 and 6 is what you're betting.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's fair.
Mm-hmm.
That's fair. You might get a bigger payout just doing the Cardinals and the under.
Oh,
is a parlay.
Gosh, team total 17 for the Cardinals.
All right, the Carolina Panthers are +5. They're in Tampa. They're taking on the Buccaneers. I have a plan on this, JC, but I'll be right back. Break it down.
Yeah. So Carolina's first game with the interim head coach, going to Tampa, playing a divisional game. I know last year, who was it? Their interim coach came in and got him some wins. However, I think this Carolina team is far worse than that one. So I'm not sure they're going to get the new coach bump that we so often see. Tampa Bay, the team that can score. So, man, head to head though, Tampa's won 5 of their last 6, covered, and except for the one game they lost. So, I mean, Tampa Bay's kind of owned Carolina of late. I just have a hard time finding any reason to bet Carolina here.
All right. Well, you got it because Tampa Bay has on Carolina of late, and I expect that to continue as I laid. And the Panthers took money, but I laid 5.5 with the Buccaneers here. This was a big edge in my projections. Let me pull those up really quick. In this game, I had 23.8 to 14.7. So I got the Bucs winning by 9 here, which as dialed in as the projections are in right now, that's like a huge edge. It's just huge. The reason that I like this play so much is I don't think that Carolina is going to be able to move the ball in Tampa. Now, Tampa's not this fearsome defense, but I'd say they're at least average and they can get things done, especially against a team that is struggling. What is my concern here? The new coach bump, which could be real. But from what I've read, Frank Reich wasn't necessarily like disliked the way that, say, Josh McDaniels was, or, I mean, I've had to go to the NBA for some other examples. But the idea is when they hate their coach, they're excited. Frank Reich wasn't necessarily disliked.
Who do they have? Who did they fire last season?
Rule. He was disliked as well.
That's what I'm saying. Another example of a disliked coach. I didn't see that with
Great
Reich.
example. Matt Rule. And then they had a nice little bump with Coach Steve Wilkes, who I think ended 6-6.
He was great.
That he did that with his team. That's a mistake to go ahead and bring in Frank Reich and pay him all this money just for the offense to get worse. The issue here is Bryce Young is 30th in QBR. His passer rating is 32nd in the league. The team is 29th in total scoring, 28th in rushing, 30th in passing. This team cannot move the ball. And I don't think it's Bryce Young's fault. The offensive line is one of the worst in the league. And if you listen to the Fan Speak show, I'm consistently talking about how the offensive line play is the reason why none of these games are going over anymore. And so most of these lines aren't good. So when you have the worst in the league, that's pretty bad. They have no skill receivers. Adam Thielen, I've said this before on the show, but Adam Thielen's their number one. He should be like their third receiver at this point in his career. They have no one getting separation, no one to get open. And Miles Sanders, going back to my point about offensive lines, hey, I could be a great running back when I have the best offensive line in the league. That's why people say RBs don't matter. Offensive lines do. Because look how effective Miles Sanders was last year. Now he goes down and he goes to the 26th ranked run blocking offensive line, and he can't get anything going because he's not a guy that can create on his own. That's why certain guys are so impressive. I talked about it with the stats last week. Who are the two players that we contrasted? It was Najee Harris and who was the other one? Regardless, I didn't think that Najee was – I thought his 91 was completely based on his blocking. And other times you see guys and they're making stuff happen. Oh, it was Jonathan Taylor before he got hurt.
Oh, yeah.
Jonathan Taylor was making things happen, right? He would get hit behind the line of scrimmage. It's still 2 or 3 yard game. We got an opportunity. He was taking advantage of it. Much worse blocking, and yet he had the same statistics. So my point is they don't have the skill position. The only thing they really have is the average defense and maybe the new coach bump. And I would assume that's why the Panthers are taking money. Right, we saw what the Raiders did with their new coach, and it's my one chance in the show to talk about the coach from Compton because they're on a bye this week, right? But we saw what a true motivator can do, especially in a small sample, as the Raiders appear to be returning to earth. But that initial bump is real. Regardless, I like the Buccaneers.
I think people are just blindly betting the new coach bump and not taking into account the situation within the franchise, and this, as we've said. And
the Buccaneers aren't good. I mean, we lost by a week. Well, I bet them last week against the Colts. The Buccaneers lost by 7, and I didn't even think the game was that close. I thought that Baker had a chance to get it there at the end, but also Baker's hurt. Maybe that's it. We bet these early in the week. I bet this on Tuesday.
The Colts are a middle-of-the-road team, whereas Carolina is far and away, the worst team in this league.
The worst team in the NFL, and that's the strength of the bet. All right. Yeah. Anything else on this one?
No, we pretty much said it all.
Cool, because you segue right into an average team that we were just discussing.
Yeah.
The Indianapolis Colts, who will be without Jonathan Taylor, who I was giving some credit to. But fortunately for the Colts, I don't know how much at this point in their career Zach Moss is that much of a drop-off. Boy, I've never seen a running back well, I've probably seen it a couple times, but it's rare that these guys, they either have it or they don't, right? And Moss was so bad in Buffalo. For him to be as effective as he is now, credit to him for working hard. Usually they either have it or they don't. JC, I love the Titans, and Tyler slapped me across the face here because I am overrating this team. It's these tough guy coaches, I'm like, oh, Vrabel, right? So I understand my mistakes here. I said I didn't want to back Will Levis at home, but really, other than the performance against Pittsburgh, he hasn't been good. And I think I'm just falling in love with that 80s quarterback style. We talk about being able to rip it through the wind. Kid's got a cannon, right? And he's a big kid. So I like that. But is he able to compete in this new NFL where accuracy, timing, and the ability to read the defense is more than just having the cannon arm? We're going to find out. Hopefully they develop him. I'm not ready to give up on him, but where he's at right now is not it. I want to take the Titans. Tyler told me I'm walking into a trap. The total's 42.5. How do you approach this game? I haven't bet anything on it. I want to bet the Titans, but I feel like it's probably a mistake.
Yeah, I got no interest in this one. I think Indianapolis is a better team. What we've seen from Will Levis to this point, outside of that one game, has not been impressive. There is the fact he's at home. And while last week was an easy bet because they're playing Carolina, you also don't really know what that did for his confidence, just getting that win after a losing streak. I like on paper, I think it's an Indianapolis smash spot, but there's too many variables going into this one for me to put money on either team, and same with the total.
Something we've been doing this year, we talked about the Buccaneers always beat the Panthers. We have some trends going here in this way.
Yes, I was looking at that. The Titans won 5 in a row.
You read it out for me then, because I scrolled down to the Carolina game.
Yeah, no, the Titans won and cover 5 in a row coming into this season. But in the first meeting between these teams back in October, the Colts won and cover. So that, they ended the Titans streak. But also, too, if you look at these
But up until that season, they had won 5 in a row, and they covered all 5 of those games.
Yeah, but it's like, for a few seasons there, that Titans team was much better, even back in 21, when like that year they had all the injuries. They still managed to be a competent team. They're not that good anymore. They're kind of on the decline, and Indianapolis is on more of an incline than a decline for sure. So that is just not something that I think I can use as a factor in whether or not to bet the game.
Yep. All right. Well, I like the Titans. I haven't got there. If I go 5-0 in NBA on Saturday night, though, it could be Team Vrabel all over again. Let's move to the next game, JC. Do you know who it is? I'll put it on a platter for you.
Oh, man.
High-powered offense that we love to see. The best assemblage of weapons in the NFL. And an average quarterback. Take the field under the leadership of Coach Mike McDaniel, his inventive schemes, his interesting way of connecting with the players by being authentic to what he is. Yes, that's right. That's what Mike McDaniel does. Going against a guy that I really like as a coach. His name's Ron Rivera. But, JC, I was thinking about this the other day. I wonder how long I can beat the NBA for. I was thinking 15 more years. I'm thinking at age 62, I'm going to just lose the mental acuity needed to be that sharp. I'm still going to bet the NBA, but how long will I beat it, right? I'm thinking about when am I going to drop my unit size to like $20 a game and just do it for fun. The reason I say that is I feel this is a situation with Ron Rivera. Things change. Things pass you by. If I were to have a kid at this age in my life, right, you're much better to teach a young person the ways of the world than me. When I grew up, JC, when I was really young, people didn't even have answering machines. If I wanted to hang out with you, I'd just keep calling until somebody picked up the phone. That's how old I am. My point is, I think it's past it for Ron Rivera. He sacrificed Jack Del Rio at the altar of saving his own job. I don't know how much that's going to help. It's a new coordinator bump. Do we really count that? Total here, 49.5. The Dolphins seem to be the smash spot if you're playing daily fantasy. I think they're going to put up a lot of points against this Commanders team. The question is, will the Commanders be able to backdoor the thing or just fight and keep it close and cover the 9.5? What do you think?
That was quite the intro to this game spread. You doing okay? We're going to take a quick second to check on you. You going through a little midlife crisis?
Constantly.
Okay. All right. Everyone, send some encouraging words to spread this week over Twitter.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean,
that's why I quit saving my money. I'm like, I don't know how much longer I
have. For sure. I mean, the game against Oakland was the only win Miami had this season that they didn't cover. And we all kind of knew there was a chance there as it was hard to handicap the Raiders under their new tutelage. But that is not the case here. This is a Washington team that is struggling. Dare I say tanking. They really have nothing going for them. They got a pretty decent quarterback. I think that's kind of, as far as talking touchdowns goes, the storyline of this game is it's two quarterbacks that I have rated far higher than spread Astaire. So I think the over.
Yeah, where did you have Howell?
I think I had him like 15th.
Yeah, I had him in the 20s.
Yeah, I had him. Yeah.
Because you should have watched the show. I took a quick shot at you yesterday.
Oh, did you?
They were talking bad on the Vikings, and I was like, it's like that wasn't a quality win. I'm like, that's JC's 6th-ranked quarterback.
I'll give it a listen. Yeah, but because of what we've seen from Howell, we know they're going to go down big, and he's going to sling it. Definitely a lot of interceptions here. This is definitely a 2+ interception spot for Howell, but they will chase him. They will continue to chase. They'll score points, and I could see this being a very high-scoring game. Miami minus 9.5 is certainly nowhere close to my favorite play on the day, but I think it's a safe bet.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think so too. And I talked to Tyler about this. I think we've been afraid of laying these big spreads.
Yeah.
And we need to get that. And this is my fault for being old guy mindset, right? Because when I first started doing this a long time ago, right? What would all the old guys tell you? What I'm, take the points. You're a square if you lay it, right? Well, things have changed because now there's 10 to 12 years of podcasts that have been preaching the same exact thing, right? You're square, right? If we go on a show, right, you hear a lot of these, right? And it's a more debate style show where we make fun of each other. And I said, I'm laying the 9.5, right? You go square, or play like SpongeBob SquarePants music or something like that, right? To make fun of me for laying the points. In no other sport is it like this. I don't think either.
No, I would agree with that.
Because the way the NBA handicaps, and I don't know enough about MLB, so maybe I'm just using the NBA. But
you don't have large spreads in baseball.
It just seems to me in NBA there's not the what I would call like pseudo sharp action. People just taking the points,
right?
Out of reflex action. The hit your knee in the doctor's office. But I do think there is a lot of that. I noticed from my friends that are casual bettors, when they bet the MLB and the NBA, they always bet the favorites. They just choose 2 or 3 favorites they like, and they either parlay them or put them together. When I talk to them about because first of all, actually, a lot of people I work with in the warehouse, JC, I don't know if they know you can make a straight bet. I'm really serious. Like they'll say, "What did you bet tonight?" And I'll go da-da-da, and they'll go, "Oh, well, you lost because what was one of my picks last night that didn't come through? Pacers lost." I go, "No, I won money tonight, guys. I don't parlay every single bet. Got 3-2 on the night. We continue to go up." This is a long-winded way of saying that I think that there's a little more value in laying these big numbers than there was 4 to 5 years ago, and I think it's because the betting public has gotten smarter to a certain extent, but there's also ways to take advantage of that.
Well, I think the other thing too is not even necessarily history. It's just this season. Like it's kind of been a crappy season for competitive football. Like teams are just getting blown out. That is the trend we're seeing this season. And these teams are probably, I don't have the numbers. I don't even know how I dig them up, but I am sure this year we're seeing far more teams cover.
I'll try and look it up spreads right now.
I got something I can filibuster because I got something I want to talk about anyways. So it's really funny here is the Dolphins had the fourth fewest interceptions, and the Commanders have the fifth fewest. But I like both quarterbacks to throw interceptions this week in this game. Tua has thrown 10 this season, and he's kind of talked about it, and him and McDaniel, about how just the style of offense, right? He's got to make these quick throws and trust the guys are going to be there, and sometimes that's going to lead to interceptions. This defense is so great, and the offense works so well that it's really not that big of a deal, but it's one of those things where it's just going to happen. So despite that, I think we count on him to throw an interception, and the increase we're seeing from this Dolphins defense. I mean, they have 8 interceptions as a team. Jalen Ramsey has 3 or 4 of them. He's been playing for a week. So obviously on an incline there. So a great spot to bet that. I'm seeing the odds at -140 for Sam Howell. So if you can, I'd go 2+. And Tua's +105 to throw an interception. So also 2 great plays. I did some I had some like bonus bet parlay money last week. So I had some crazy parlays cash on the Dolphins game last week, just because you can do so much with this team. We can kind of bump up or bump down the spread. I think you can bump up the over quite a bit this week if you want to. You can look at interceptions, passing yards. I think I like 285 for Howell and 291 for, it's pass plus rush.
All right, so I couldn't find it totally, but through week 11 they were 8-3, double-digit favorites. Now, technically, Miami wouldn't qualify here.
Sure,
but I think our point stands.
Right, for sure.
So. All right, let's keep it moving here. Too many tabs open. What am I doing? JC, this is the game right here. And if you would have told me after week 1 how enticed I am to just watch this game, not necessarily bet it, but it's going to be on my TV. And I'm talking about the Denver Broncos, who are +3. They're in Houston. They're taking on the Texans. The total is 47.5. But JC, let's go back to week 1. The Broncos had a terrible preseason, and then they lose to the Raiders straight up in a game where they couldn't move the ball at all. The Texans get blown out by the Baltimore Ravens. At this point, we're thinking, hey, these two teams could be drafting at the top again next year. Now, both teams are playing fantastic football. They're both 6-5. And it's funny because just statistically, Russ and CJ Stroud are very, very close. Their teams are both 6-5. Their passer ratings are both around 100, and their touchdown to interception ratio is really close. So as good as CJ Stroud has been and as excited it is for these fans, don't look now, but Russell Wilson has become a competent quarterback once again. The coaching of Sean Payton, I know that it was a butt of the joke earlier in the year. He's turned this team around. And the market agrees with me because this was 3.5. And I thought it was too many points for the Denver Broncos. And people have agreed with me. They bet this down to +3. Boy, I liked it a lot more at 3.5. But to me, it's Broncos or pass. My idea is as good as the Texans are and as excited as we are about their future, because it's nice to see a team do a rebuild properly, right? And I know those fans have been waiting for it. They're doing it right here, and they're going to continue to get better. But I don't know if they're ready to be laying it to another team that seems to be just as good as they are. What are your thoughts?
Wow, you've really kind of turned the corner on the Broncos, haven't you?
How could you not? What, they won 5 games in a row?
4 wasn't enough for you. So
beating
Cleveland is what put you over the edge on them?
They moved the ball against the best defense in the league.
Fair enough. Man, this one, I don't know if I can make a pick on this one. I agree it's going to be a fantastic game. Definitely a must watch. I'm still seeing 3.5. I hate that number.
I'll take the 3.5.
Especially if you like the favorite, which I kind of like the Texans more here.
You do, huh? We should switch books.
We should.
And I
we should.
can get the 3.5, and you can lay the 3.
I don't know. I mean, we've just seen such great play out of the Texans, and while Denver looks strong for sure, man, I could go either way on this. Like it's.
My final point is the 2-point Texans win that crazy.
No, it's definitely a close game.
We've seen these point spreads matter this year because the scoring is down. My projections
and the other
kind of agree with you, though. I have a 24.2 to 20.8, right around the 3.5. That goes under in my projections, but I feel like I made a mistake and this game could go over. What do you think of the total?
Definitely has potential to go over. I mean, these are two guys who really know how to move the ball. Like it's Texans can score, and I think the Broncos can keep pace. Man, I don't know. Because my original thought was if I had to pick a winner, I just pick the Texans. But I know 3.5. Like the numbers always say to go with the dog on a 3.5 game. But the more we sit here and talk about it, I kind of more lean towards Denver. And it's just when I'm so back and forth like that, I know the smart thing is to just stay off of it.
I mean, to be fair, Tyler, I like the Texans as well. And we debated this yesterday, and Meg landed on his side. She thought he made better arguments.
Because the thing is, when you're so back and forth on a game like this, it's lose-lose, right? Like maybe you win, but then if you lose, you're pissed at yourself because you're like, oh, well, I was on the other team, and I want no part of it. But I will gladly watch this game.
All right, we will move on. Well, we'll do the main event last. Let's talk about the Cleveland Browns, JC, who are catching 3.5 in Los Angeles. I'll bet you have +4 on your book, don't you?
For which one?
Because I have +3.5, +101. Total here is 40. Tough to see the Browns doing their part for this game to go over. Would you agree?
For sure. I mean, and the Rams, they're not really lighting the scoreboard.
But you can see them getting. I mean, it's how much did they score last week?
It's possible.
I mean, they had 4 touchdowns last week.
That was against the Cardinals.
Okay, but I'm just saying. Yeah, you're right. I mean, the difference between the Cardinals defense and the Browns defense.
Yeah.
All right, that's a great point. Where are you looking in this game?
Definitely the under because, I don't really think the Browns can win, but there's a chance they hold the Rams offense to so few points they can maybe keep it close. The Browns have no business winning this game, but they very well might. So, especially being in LA, I could see it being a close game, or I could see it being a Rams blowout. So I'd rather just take the under.
All right, you're on the under, and we'll see if the Browns can shut down Matt Stafford and the Los Angeles Rams offense. Of course, that game will be played in LA. The Browns' last chance here. All right, well, we had a fun show yesterday, JC, with Meg and Tyler. Meg and I both liked the San Francisco 49ers lane 3. Although, to be fair, I feel like that line is wrong. Because just off the line, you're telling me that the 49ers are 5 to 5.5 points better than the Philadelphia Eagles? Doesn't that seem crazy?
I mean, that sounds slightly off, but not much.
That's not off projections. You don't project. You see what I'm saying? They manually move that. It's either off sharp action or they just thought they were going to get a deluge of 49ers money. But 49ers are not 5.5 points better than the Eagles. And the funny thing I'm saying this, I feel like the 49ers in this game. I'm just surprised at the line.
Man, it's so funny. It's one of those things that, it's just when you put it like that, right? Like, you look at this, San Francisco favored by 2.5, not that big of a deal. But then when you process it as, they're saying it was on neutral, it's 5.5, you do think, I'm not sure that's quite right.
Right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, let's just throw that out, right? Let's just throw the fact that we think they made a mistake with the power ratings out, which you're allowed to do, right? I make numbers on every game. I don't follow them. Look at the sheet, right? Even yesterday, I said it too. I said I projected like a 235 on I think it was the Spurs Hawks. And on the show, I go, this is going to end up in the 270s. Like my projections are absolutely wrong. Yeah, I found the flaw in my NBA model. It won't project more than 240. I don't know why. I think it's because if you have one or two games at 99, you could just never get back up that high. You have one dead this early in the season. Regardless, let's go back to this NFL game. I believe that the power ratings are wrong, but when I look at the way that these two teams match up, I like the 49ers. Now, do I think that they're better than the Eagles at full strength? I don't know. But I don't think Jalen Hurts is 100%. And that's really the strength of my handicap here is that I get a fully healthy Niners team going into this game against Jalen Hurts, who's been playing hurt all year. And yes, he's been getting it done. But will he be able to get it done against one of the most fearsome defenses in the NFL? I also like the 49ers offensive versatility. I feel that with the Eagles' strong defense, even if the Eagles shut down the run game, they can still score. Even if they shut down the inside run game, because Tyler doesn't think that McCaffrey is going to be able to get yards up the middle. Fine, they'll just run slants, they'll run screens, they'll run sweeps, ways to get McCaffrey the ball in space where he can use his athletic ability to make people miss. You also have Deebo Samuel. It's so cool to have Deebo and McCaffrey on the same team. Seems like something I would have done in Madden 20 years ago, right? Where you get these two dynamic playmakers that both, where you're the wide receiver that can run and the running back that can catch the ball. So there's so many good arguments to make here for the 49ers. I kind of like San Francisco here, but my main reason is I don't think Jalen Hurts is 100% healthy. What do you think?
So two kind of factors here that play into me, and I wouldn't directly say Fields is the reason, but it correlates or it lines up. The last two games we saw with the Eagles in Buffalo and Kansas City, it was they didn't play 4 great quarters of football. They kind of got sloppy and then found a way to win. And
it's like the 96 Bulls, JC, and you might not be old enough to remember, but so many with that year they went 72-10. So many of those games they screwed around for 3.5 quarters, right, and then they would hold the opposing team to like 2 points in the last 6 minutes. And that's how you would just see them flip a switch. They would go from just running around to being locked in on defense. And I know it's easier to do that in basketball than the NFL, but it feels that way with this Eagles team where you contrast the way that they look on the field, even the way that they're blocking and controlling the line of scrimmage. It's like in the fourth quarter, all of a sudden, their linemen are getting more push. They're getting more pressure in the backfield. Like they just flipped that switch. Yeah, the way those old Bulls did. But are they going to be able to do that against this 49ers team? That's the question.
Exactly. And I don't think you can. I don't think you can play that. If you want to beat the 49ers, a healthy 49ers team, of course, you got to play 4 great quarters of football. And just having not seen that these last 2 games, I'm not confident in. And here's the other thing. For weeks now, you and me, we've said San Francisco is the best team in the NFC. Tyler's been saying the Eagles. And at the end of the day, that's what you got to bet, right? 2.5 points. What are the odds one of these teams wins by 1 or 2 points? Very low. So I wouldn't overthink that spread. Like, don't take the Eagles because you're going, man, San Francisco might only win by 1. Like, if you like that, then just bet the winning margin. Just so simply, having said San Francisco is the better team, I got to back who I think is the better team. I'll bet San Francisco. And if they lose, hey, credit to Philly. I'm not sure I'm going to come off that take, but it's going to be fantastic.
If they lose, Tyler's going to be insufferable on Monday morning.
100%.
Oh my!
But you know what?
He's going to be victory lapping on my face. I'm having a cleat mark as he runs over me.
However, we've seen it time and time again. I mean, if the Eagles win out, or maybe they only win, or maybe they only lose like one more game, I'm fading them to the playoffs. I will. It just doesn't seem to correlate because they're playing all the teams they're going to have to play in the playoffs. And if they beat all of them, it's just one of those things. I will just bet against them every game in the playoffs.
All right. Well, I don't know about every game, but
every game spread.
And JT, I'll tell you what, me and Tyler have argued about this all week, but I haven't placed the bet yet. Well, see, you have better numbers than me for the games I like. You have 2.5. I have 3.
Yeah, that's kind of.
I have 3 at -101 though, so I'm hoping the Eagles take a little money.
think they will. Because I
They are
think
at home, and that's a crazy home field advantage too.
Yeah,
Not
but
playing
this,
at
I mean, this,
SoFi or Allegiant Stadium where half the other team's fans show up.
yeah. But still, I think you can, because I think people are going to look at the records. They're going to look at the bad losses San Francisco have, the big wins Philly's had. I think we could see some line movement. I would love to get this to like 2. That'd be awesome.
What, Niners -2?
Yeah.
I think it's
Or
between 2.5
or
and 3.
if you're really that nervous about it, man, take the money line and go like over 40. Something like that. That's
Just
what I
take the
said.
money. I mean, I don't have no problem laying minus
I agree.
153.
That's kind of the thing that I don't like. I mean, I would never.
I just don't know if it correlates to the percentage of the times that they win. Let me look that up right now. What would a minus 153 be?
I do that, especially in hockey. Like, I don't always give out those picks, but there are some times where I feel like it's such a smash spot. I'll lay the 150 because it's like, it's still what, like $70 you're making on a.
Okay, so at minus 153, you need to win 60.5% of the time to be profitable. Do the Niners have a 60% chance to win this game? I don't know.
Yeah.
You think they do?
No, for sure. But also, too, like like I said, at minus 150, that's still a $66 return.
I mean, really, if I took the teams out of it and I only bet numbers and I never watched football, I think by the numbers, the Eagles are the play here.
Probably.
I think they got a 50-50 shot, and you're getting plus.
Do the numbers account for
137.
The injuries, right? What do the numbers look like if we take out those 3 weeks for San Francisco?
Yeah. All right, there you have it. JC and I both like the Eagles. The Tyler's going to be insufferable.
Nope.
If that pick gets home.
Nope.
I mean, we both like the 49ers. Excuse me. Having a rough week, JC.
I can tell.
Kansas City Chiefs are -6. They're in Green Bay taking on the Packers. Total here is 42. I was slandering the Packers. They're playing a lot better. JC, I had this game at 5.5. But in my head, I like the Packers here to cover at home. We've seen these primetime games go under. Assuming the game does go under, the 6 points will be more valuable. Jordan Love, who I love to slander at the beginning of the year, has made me eat my words. He's playing well. He's developing well. If they give him that contract extension they're talking about, they're absolutely stupid. But for handicapping this game, I think he can keep it close against the Kansas City Chiefs team that has kind of struggled to find their way on offense. And the reason that matters is you need your offense to be clicking to cover large spreads on the road. Chiefs are famous for winning without getting the cover. I like the Packers +6. Your thoughts?
It's a tough one, and it definitely is more difficult to handicap with it being a Sunday night game. Because given, the good play we've seen out of Green Bay, it's tempting. It's tempting to grab that +6, but then you're like, man, it's a Sunday night game. I don't even know how many primetime games Jordan Love has played in. Primetime means almost nothing to Patrick Mahomes. It's something he's pretty much used to at this point in the career. That would be interesting to see his record at the spread in primetime. It kind of gives a notch in that direction. I was burned fading him with that large spread against Vegas last week. And it's just those last 2 games. It's that game against Detroit and the game against the Chargers that makes you think Green Bay has a chance here. I don't know. I'm probably not going to bet it, but if I had to, I'd lay the 6. I don't think we can. Those 2 games are enough to take a 5-6 team against this Kansas City squad.
All right. Well, great breakdown. I'll have to listen to it a little bit later tonight. But I like the points. Is that where you ended up?
No, I think you got to lay it because it's prime time.
Really?
Because I think you got 2 good games from Jordan Love, and that's kind of why we're like, ooh, I think they can cover. But this is prime time. This is Patrick Mahomes. I just feel I'm going to feel more foolish if I take the points and Mahomes balls out than if I lay the points and it's turns out to be a close game.
What's your favorite bet for this week 13, JC?
I will have to say
While you figure it out, give me. Oh, go ahead.
Under 40.5 in New England.
Okay, you're going under 40.5 in New England. I'm laying 5 with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers against the very worst team in the NFL, the Carolina Panthers, not able to get the thing moving offensively. This was my biggest edge in my projections. I had this as a 9-point Buccaneers win, and I would not be surprised to see them win by double digits against the hapless Carolina Panthers. So there you have it. We'll be back on Monday. Sorry about the weird times, guys. I've been working a little extra at UPS to basically try and lose all the fat. I don't even care about the money, but all the weight I gained while I was hurt that month. That was rough for me. But what isn't rough is continuing to cash these tickets, whether or not you're watching this show or the live show, which did excellent on Thursday Night Football. Yes, that's right. Keg will be live this weekend. Give us the thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. This is Nuke the House. JC, take us out of here.
Yeah, man, this one goes out to you and Ron Rivera. I wasn't sure which direction I was going to go, but after, hearing what you had to say, I thought, Benjamin Franklin, some wise words from him could be a good reminder. And that is, we don't stop playing because we grow old. We grow old because we stop playing.
That was good.